Nerd reactor, roll out.
You play Mother, a robot mother in the world of WondLa, and you're no stranger to playing the motherly role. And so, what is it about Mother that captivated you as a like this kind of like loving robotic figure?
Well, I would put the role of mother in my own personal life as my identity, an identity that I hold as right at the top of the list. I love being a mother. I think that's been a very important part of my life. So it makes sense to me that many of the roles I gravitate to, are roles of mothers. I think imagining what a robotic mother would be like in the future and um, what her capabilities might or might not be, but also this question of like, is there, is being with this human underground for such a long time as the only caregiver, does this germ of a human emotion get planted in her that then evolves beyond her roboticness, where she really does have the complexity to feel love in a way that even surprises her. And I thought all of that was really interesting. I think the story is beautiful, and the animation. I love being a part of animated projects because they do have the breadth to reach so many different communities. You have your family entertainment, but then you also have your sort of art, sci-fi nerds, of which I consider myself to be one. And so I just think you have this big community of people that you're creating material for, and I feel really good about being a part of it.
Oh yeah, and in this series, it follows Eva. She's going on her adventure. She's trying to find a place where she belongs. And you've been in some projects that includes like beings that are from somewhere else and they want to find out their origins. So my question to you is, what do you think about these stories that gravitates towards like audiences that resonates with them on just watching someone just trying to find a place, their origins and feeling of belonging?
Well, because I think at the base, I think we are all on some level looking for purpose, looking for reason, trying to answer the question, why? Why am I here? Why is any of this happening? And, I guess that's a story that can be played out over and over through, with the front of different kinds of characters. But I think you're right that that's exactly what Eva is going through here. She, comes out of a very sheltered, insular, helicoptered life and is, I think, internally and externally, fighting her own struggle with independence and purpose and meaning with fighting this crazy, chaotic, unpredictable world of aliens and creatures to find, some sense of self, but also some sense of what family can mean to her. And so I think it's a journey that's relatable, and that's probably why you see it come up in many different forms in different pieces of work.
And Terry, for you personally, if you were to be in this world, whether you have a choice of being in the underground sanctuary or having the option to venture out into the chaotic world out there, well, which one would you choose and why?
I would totally venture out. I'm a complete venture out person. Anybody that knows me would say I'm a person that throws myself into any experience or opportunity that comes my way. I love jumping into bodies of water anywhere in the world. Like I'll get in with a whale or, whatever. I love that. So I would definitely be the person that would jump into the outside, and I would hope for the best.
Yes, adventure type, check.
Yeah.
You've done animation before, you've done live action, and I just want to know your thoughts on like just going between different, like how does it feel going to the voice acting and then switching between like live action? Is it like a hard thing to
Yeah.
do, or you just like in it, like you just do that switch?
Yeah, it is. I've done theater as well, and it is interesting. I love that about acting, where it's like, depending on what the gig is, you do utilize different parts of your instrument and your brain. And what I love about this job is it's like you get to do something you would never get a pass to do on camera, you know. And me playing 16, we've unfortunately passed that. And this is such a joyful place to be in and to get to play in. And it's like just that pure imagination, all that stuff that, you know, you envision getting to be an actor is about. You just in your silly and in your play. So it's been so fun doing this one, just like a pleasure.
And this one, very like one is very much inspired by, let's say, for me at least, like Alice in Wonderland. And
Yeah.
then it reminds me of
Wizard of
also like
Oz.
Wizard of Oz. And so for you, Janine, was there anything for this where it just kind of takes you back? It's like, oh yeah, this reminds me of this moment, like from this either this movie or TV show.
You literally nailed it. Those two came to mind often for me. And I know they did for Tony DiTerlizzi, who wrote the book series, and they were a big part of his inspiration and having this like young female protagonist setting out on an epic adventure series and finding family along the way, forging found family along the way. And I just got excited about, you know, the prospects of getting to do it and having this like young Latina at the center of it and her getting to be our Dorothy. and and also got excited about just getting to push the bar of what an animated series can look like and the visuals of, you know, if Wizard of Oz was, you know, like nothing anybody had seen at that time, like the intention with what Skydance Animation and what Apple TV Plus set out to do with this was to make a feature quality animated series. So the visuals have just been blowing my mind. I do feel like I am, you know, Judy Garland taking it all in and being wowed by what they've been able to pull off. I'm like in awe of my collaborators on this. They're the pros for a reason.
Because usually like with voice acting, sometimes the voice actor they join on the project before seeing like the
Yeah.
animation, and sometimes you see the animation and then you dub. But for this one, what
Yeah.
was it like? Because I'm pretty sure you did it before anything was created, like the animation. So when you finally saw it come to life, what was your reaction to that?
Oh God, I was like, it was like emotional. The first time I saw how I'd seen original renderings and things like that, but it started to look like me and they started to give her my likeness. And so the first time I saw her, I walked into the booth and I was just like, I couldn't believe it. It was like, took my breath away. Cause again, like I just grew up loving animation. So it felt like me jumping into the TV screen, you know, and it made me excited for like my young nieces to watch because they look like my little twins. Um, and 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 then eventually seeing the nuance of the performance, like seeing like how good these animators are and what quality they're standing for on this show, you know. uh it was so profound, like the way her expressions come through, you know. It was like inspiring to then when we dubbed and we do pickups and we're refining stuff to say I don't have to hold back ever. Like they really were looking for on camera level of performance that your voice carries that, and the animation just allowed it to go even further. It was amazing.
Because you have the other stories, let's say Alice and Wizard of Oz, they're like in the regular day life, but then it's fantasy. But here it's
Yeah.
Ava's by herself. And so how
Yeah.
did that feel for you with just like this kind of like unique aspect for this character and just isolation and then coming to the outside world and then wanting to find someone that she can feel like she can belong to.
Totally. You know, a lot of it, honestly, you know, it seems exaggerated, of course, but there is an element of being young and in your own hometown. I know I felt this way. I knew early what I wanted to do. And so I was so excited to get out of my hometown and go and start like grinding and getting working, you know, and, and there is something that young people watching this can take from that of like, you know, you aren't alone in your expedition. You know, once you start going, you're going to have obstacles, you're going to have things that are not as expected. Like there's no way to be 100% prepared for anything, but you know, it's the right thing to do to lean on good people when you find them. And like that's an exciting thing to have. I always tell young people like you have to find community that's like as inspired and into what you're doing and nerdy about what you're doing. Like that's the thing that gets you through. And she finds that in this like, you know, unexpected group of aliens and stuff. And in her quest to find family, she realizes she's had it all along.
Oh yeah. And what I love about animation is you can tell these kind of big epic stories and with these characters.
Yeah.
And for you, in general, do you have like a favorite like animated film or animated
Oh
series?
gosh. Oh gosh. That's so tough. Oh man. I literally watch all of it and like in theaters. Like I don't wait for VOD. I just watched Kung Fu Panda 4. You know what I mean? Like I watch all of it. I love the Monsters Inc. property. Like I just there's an element of that that just feels like I think about watching it with my siblings. And God, I'm trying to think. I mean, we have so many that we like quote to each other, you know, all the time. But even Toy Story, like John Lasseter being a part of so many like seminal animation pieces, like getting to work with him on this felt so like, oh my God, like this is it's what a legacy, you know. Um, so yeah, I literally all of it. Hotel Transylvania, like I love all of them.
And you're behind this, you're working on this, and what was it like? Like, because you have a history of working on animated series.
Sure.
So was this daunting for you? Was this like a challenge, or were you like, man, I got this?
Oh, yeah, it's so easy. I don't know why everybody doesn't do this. No, every show is a challenge, right? And it has to, you learn, it's like anything. You learn something new, everything you do, and the new challenges come along. The biggest challenge for me on this one was most everything I'd done up to date was episodic. It was like, yeah, there's a horizon want across the show, but generally the episodes are sort of self-contained. Characters don't grow as much, right? This was a whole different thing for me in a sense it's serialized. So the idea of playing out a big long movie, right, over a series of episodes, that was exciting, but also making the individual episodes satisfying, cliffhangers that sort of push you to the next show, all that kind of stuff. That was all great and a new challenge for me. In addition to that, Skydance Animation and Apple TV Plus were both committed to a super high quality show. So, it used to be, there was like TV animation, there was feature animation. And now with limited series, if you're willing to go for it, you can do sort of a feature quality, a look of picture and depth of storytelling. But you're not limited to the feature length. You can open it up. So that was exciting, was to try to, how get the highest quality possible. We even put the show up we rented a theater and watched it on the big screen with the crew, just so we could see how it held up on the big screen. And it really held up nicely. So hopefully everybody gets sort of a feature quality experience, but the depth of storytelling you get out of a limited series.
Oh yeah, and it looks great too, especially the action sequences with just the home world being demolished and Eva coming outside. You see the world, so I enjoyed that. And the story very much inspired by was it Alice in Wonderland or Wizard of Oz, and
Or both,
so
actually. If you talk to Tony,
yeah,
it's both, yeah.
yeah. And I think for you, was there any inspiration from other projects that's similar with the whole like Alice in Wonderland type stories? Like let's say The Matrix and whatever that help you like let's add these ideas into this show.
Oh, not so much. I think that, yeah, Tony's a big fan of Wizard of Oz, which you'll see in the show. I actually hid some yellow bricks in the first few episodes. If you look really hard, that's something I haven't told anyone. But so yeah, but I think it's the idea of sort of falling down the rabbit hole into a world that doesn't make sense to you and you have to figure it out. So I think Tony tapped into those. Didn't really tap into anything else because we wanted to make sure we weren't being derivative of other projects. There's so much science fiction out there and looks of worlds. It gets harder and harder to do something that the audience hasn't seen before. So we tried our best, mostly being inspired by Tony D's, art already, which is pretty unique.
Oh yeah. And with the story, Eva, she has her just ragtag team of just like robots, aliens, giant creatures. And I want to ask you, Bobs, for you, if you were Ava, if you had your own team that you can grab from your previous projects that you've worked on, who would it be in terms of a robot,
Oh,
a giant creature?
that requires too much work to done like 8 shows. Oh, who would I want to put together as my team?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'd like Cusco to be there to sort of like argue a point for me. I think I'd put him out there to like, not ever take no for an answer. Um, Stitch to help, hotwire things perhaps to get out of a pinch, right? Um, uh, any of the monsters, you know, uh, Mike Wazowski would be great to have fun. That'll keep things, and Billy Crystal will keep things entertaining, right? Oh, I can go on and on. That's
Oh
that's
yeah, just
I never even thought about that. It's kind of a weird mashup.
oh yeah, it's a big team. As long as you'll be entertained, and no, I love it. And here, what I like about this story is the whole everything feels safe at the beginning, like with
Yeah.
Eva. She has mother taking care of her, and then when she goes outside, it's completely different. And
Just like
for you,
life.
yeah, just like life, yeah. So I don't know about you. Like, let's say if the world would go into chaos, would you want a post-apocalyptic world that looks colorful and vibrant, or like a wasteland? Like, do you have like the perfect terrible future?
My perfect post-apocalyptic world. That's a great question. I think I like, I mean, I like the fact that this world's been terraformed and it's beautiful in this alien sort of like flora and fauna sort of way. So I think that's pretty cool versus a sort of I like the idea of the hope and the sort of, yes, it's different, but there's growth over death and decay. Yes. I'll go for the alien. I'll think for the alien terraformed world over the decaying environment.
Oh yeah, because you still have characters, creatures out there. Just I'm pretty sure plenty of water. That's important.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, and so like for this story, it's a lot of mystery behind it, and like people watching it, they're going to be on a journey. Like, what's happening? What happened to this place?
Right.
And how much of it is you trying to like hold back on like this is the time to reveal like this certain element, like episode by episode.
Uh, so yeah, that was the challenge, right? And like how you sort of like turn your cards over, and but Tony has sort of mapped out the books, and we tried to choose a theme for each season. The theme for third season was really about family, about Eva defining and finding her family, because she's trying to find the last human, or trying to find if there are other humans out there, and she sees the humans as that's my family, so I need to find them, and she's not seeing that perhaps there's a found family forming around her, and mother becoming more of a MOTHER versus an MUTHR. And so I think that allowed us to focus on just that idea of this is a story about her finding her family. And then we can sort of like, springboard into the next thing. So it wasn't too hard in a sense of that. At the end of the day, you want emotion to drive all your choices, and emotions basically to drive your characters, and characters are driving the story, not the other way around. So you kind of set your characters off in the world, and then let their emotions guide their choices, and then that kind of storytelling. I mean, a lot of it was already there in the books, but that's the way you want to work on a story, is from the emotion out, not from the story, not from the other direction.
Yeah. And that's about the time for me, Bobs. And I just want to say much appreciated with the interview. And yeah, can't wait for the show to come out.
Now I'm stuck thinking about my superhero gang of characters I've worked with. I'm going to keep thinking about that.